Hello everyone, it's Julie from Camellia Crafts Designs. Welcome back to my channel. I'm here with my cover for my Alice junk journal that I'm doing, Alice in Wonderland, and I'm going to get the fabric on the spine so that I can then go ahead and decorate the inside ready for attaching the signatures that I'm still working on. So here we go. If you watch my Friday Faffage video, you will have seen this gesso that I bought from Hobbycraft here in the UK. £2 it was, 250 mils. It was half price at Hobbycraft. So, I've never used black gesso. I'm hoping I don't get in a tangle. I'm going to have a look, see whether there's anything. You know how sometimes, oh, that's a bit. I'm guessing it doesn't have anything you need to peel off because, oh, it's got a seal here, look. See, I don't even know what I'm doing. Oh, it's going to come straight out that. Right, that's the fabric I'm going to use. It'll be a bit of a stop-start video this. It won't seem like that to you because I'm going to have to let things dry between doing things. So, I'm going to make sure I've got no bits of dust. I just want to cover this white because it does slightly show through my fabric with it being thin. I've got one of these sponge applicators, yeah, Poundland, Amazon, anywhere you want to get them from. And yeah, this is why I like stuff in tubes. I don't like the messiness of having to have a palette. So let's see how well this covers. Oh, wowzer. This covers so well. I'm a bit impressed with this already. I think I might have got enough out to do the whole thing. It's difficult for me to tell how well it's covering because I don't know if you can't see the light the way I see it. For me it's shining on it through the window. Oh, that's better. I just move my head on one side. Don't matter if I get a little bit over, but I don't want to get too much. There we go. So, because the fabric is going to extend onto the card a little bit. I'll tell you what, I'll do it this way. Yeah, I'll go in towards the spine because the whole of that's going to get covered, isn't it? I was just slapping it on like it didn't matter. To be honest, I forgot this was outside, but that's me. I just don't want to see any white. Then I'm going to be a happy bunny. Oh yeah, I'm well impressed. It's only going to need one coat. I was expecting to have to do about 2 coats. I think that must be what they mean by, what did it say it was? Did it say it was heavy gesso? No, I don't know. Oh, my lid's not on proper. So yeah, anyway, I'm just waffling away while I paint this, aren't I? You know, I'm doing it like it's Sistine Chapel. It's going to get covered up, woman. Yes, I've gone a little bit further onto the book page there than I would like. Oh my, look at that. It's a good job I'm going to be pausing this video soon because I'm now, yeah, I'll leave little sooty fingerprints everywhere I go if I don't clean that off. Wow, you don't need much of that at all. That tube is going to last me forever if this is the only thing I'm going to use it for. Right, so I want to let that dry completely before I do the other side. So I'm just going to quickly pause the video and you will see it again. I will have clean hands and it will be dry. 2 ticks. I'm having trouble finding pause button when it's on this new stand. There we go. And I'm back. Right, that's dry enough now. I'm impatient. I've wafted it about a bit. I've not got my heat gun out. Yeah, I can mess gesso up with my heat gun. I've done it before. Ooh. So, which I'll have that way. I'll get a new piece out in case that's... We know that's not still wet, but just in case. Right, I dare turn it over now. Now I've not got any more gesso. And I'm going to do the inside. So yeah, it's like deja vu all over again. I just dropped the open tube of gesso. Now this time, because everything's going to get covered, I can be as messy as I want. Just get it slapped on there. I'm very impressed how well this covers. I don't know if it's anything to do with the what I'm painting, the Tyvek. It is like a, it's really weird. It's smooth and shiny but matte. That sounds, I know that sounds impossible, but it's just how it is. Just make sure I've got that edge. Very frugal. Don't want to use too much gesso. But it's only going to last me 10 years. I want to stretch it out a bit more. You can see how little I'm using. I'm very impressed with this gesso. It seems thicker than any white gesso I've used. I mean, I know I love my Daily Rowney white gesso, but this Pebeo one seems even thicker. But I know it's, yeah, like comparing night and day. Couldn't resist that one. But I think, yeah, when I eventually run out of my white gesso, I'll try Pebeo white gesso. But like I say, I use gesso so infrequently, that's going to be a few years away. I've totally forgot I want to try Pebeo, and yeah, it'll probably not happen, will it? I'm just checking I've got no white on edge. I know you can't see this. Oh, can you? It's just dangling, isn't it? Whee! Yeah, that looks good to me. All covered. Quite impressed with how well that gesso covers. I really am. That was much easier. I know I've covered things before with black acrylic paint back in the days when I had some left, but very impressed with that. Do you know, if I'd actually done that, yeah, if I'd painted it on nicely and smoothly, I think I would be quite happy with that as a finish on something. I really would. So that's that. Right, I'm going to put that over to one side to dry now while I prepare the next part. I'm still going to pause because I want to wash my gesso brush. I don't want my brush ruined. So 2 ticks again. I'm back again. Right, I've got my fabric. I've washed my brush. It was so easy to wash. And as you can see, my hands wash really nice. Very easy to come off that. Very impressed with it. So before I move that out of the way, I did go ahead and cut my fabric, which is the bit I want. That's the bit I don't want. So I've cut it one way and not the other. I've just cut it 2 inches taller than my book. Yeah, how tall was my book? I just ought to write these down to refer to, didn't I? Because I can't remember. My book's 8.5, so I've cut the fabric to 10.5. Yeah. So yeah, I've cut it to 10.5, so it's the correct height. I then need to know how long it wants to be, and it wants to be, I want to cover the Tyvek up on both sides and go over the spine for, I'm going to make it 4.5, and then I want a 1/2 inch turnover on each side, so I'll make it 5.5. I'm going to cut this to 5.5 inches wide. Yeah, that looks like my straightest side. I will now just move this out of the way to finish drying. There we go. Onto one of my temporary shelf drawers. Drawer shelves, whatever. So, yeah. 5.5 that wants to be. I'm going to use my big chompy Timalt scissors. I'm not too bothered about it being perfect. I'm going to follow the dots when I cut. So that's 5.5. I'm going to start there, roughly. As long as I've got my spine covered and where the Tyvek's painted, I'm a happy bunny. So this is sending my eyes funny, these dots, trying to cut it. I don't know about you watching it. I hope it's not sent video funny. So there we have it. That's what I want. So I'm not even going to need to iron this, because when you smooth it, those creases are gone. It's very nice fabric. So I am now going to get my, yeah, what did I call it? Wonder Web, which I put on one side. And I'm just going to turn these edges over 1/2 inch on either side with my Wonder Web. I could do it with glue, but it's thin fabric. and I don't want to turn that over with glue and then glue it onto cover. I might end up with a mess. I also want to put a bit of extra glue on the edges to make sure they're stuck down properly, and I think when I've got 2 thicknesses of fabric and 1 thickness of this hemming tape, I think that's going to make sure my glue doesn't seep through. So, ooh, how does this stuff work? Am I gonna have to read instructions? I really am gonna have to read instructions, if I can even see them. Right, turn garment inside out. Well, that's my garment, so that's inside out. Cut tape to length, ensuring a sufficient amount to fully cover the required area. For larger areas, such as curtains, work in small sections. Well, this is a small section, isn't it? Iron garment or fabric to the crease in the hem at required lengths. Ah, see, iron it to the crease. Ah. Set iron to required temperature. It just says, oh, select a suitable heat for the fabric. Duh. Yeah. Select it. Yeah, adhesive side down. Place hemming tape over rough edge of the hem. Ensure it overlaps with the main fabric. Place ironing cloth in between hem. Firmly hold down. Right, so this tape doesn't, it's not Wonderweb. It's not Wonderweb what I bought. It isn't sticky on both sides. It's hemming tape. It's sticky on one side. Ding, can you hear? So what I do is I make the hem, then you put that tape over like that. Wowzer. Do you know what? I think this, it's like cotton fabric on that side. This would be fabulous even on the outside of a journal. Ooh. So that, yeah, my mind's racing thinking about possibilities for the future use of this stuff. So, yeah, it's pretty thin as well. Oh, I like that. I'm not sure I'm going to want it 2 lengths of it in the crease on the top and bottom of the journal. So I'm going to cut this hemming tape to the height of the journal, which is 8.5 inches. So that when I turn it over to the inside, we don't have another layer of hemming tape in the crease. You'll see what I mean when I do it. So yes, I'm going to cut 2 lengths of this, 8.5 inches. I don't know why that's got a mark on, but it's on the inside, so it's not going to bother me. So grab your ruler, girl, and cut 2 bits of this, 8.5 inches. I might go smidging out. I don't need to go smidging over. In fact, if I make it just short of 8.5, I can ensure it's then not longer than the journal. I mean, you don't have to mess about like this. This Alice journal I'm making is quite a precise journal. Yeah. It's, as junk journals go, there's not a lot of junk in it, is there? A lot of it's just my junk that's been hanging about. So, I'm going to cut that there. I was going to take this over to ironing board and do it, but I think I'll do it on camera, actually. Yeah, I'll do it on camera so that you know exactly how I'm doing it, and then you can decide if it's something you'd want to do. The only reason I'm doing it is because I want a nice neat edge on the front of my journal. So, just going to warm my iron up. So, my iron's on, it's warmed up. I found another novel use for Amazon packaging. I don't know what happened to I had a heat-proof sheet that I ironed on. And I know when I did it, someone did mention it will still warp my mat underneath. So, I'm behaving, and I've put a bit more insulation between my mat and my fabric. So, let me grab my bits of tape. Now I'm going to measure this just to make sure. I don't want to put too big of a hem on and then not have enough fabric to cover my spine. That would be a bit of a disaster, really, wouldn't it? So, get the ruler back out, and I'm going to use my magic disappearing purple fabric marking pen, if I can lay my hand on it. I'm terrible at planning, me. I knew I was coming back on. I knew I was going to need to mark my fabric. And yeah, I've found it. So I'm going to mark it at 1/2 inch. So that's that. Oh, it shows up pretty nicely. I've not tested it on this fabric, which is pretty naughty. Pretty naughty indeed. It should be fine. It's going to be fine. Do you know what? I'm just going to do the other marking up those dots. So I'm working on that same row of dots. Yeah. Then I'm going to mark 1/2 inch at this side. That's that row of dots. I'm assuming the fabric's going to be pretty straight. To be honest, I should have marked. Oh, it shows through to the side. That's good. So before I even attach the tape, I'm going to iron this fabric to a 1/2 inch. So here we go. I'm using the dots as my guide. There we go. So that's what I will have showing on the front of my journal or the back, whichever it ends up being. And I'm going to do the same thing here. And then when I've done this, that's when I will attach the hemming tape. Yes, this hemming tape does not work in the way I assumed it would work. I thought it'd be like double-sided stick that I would put inside this hem, and it's not. It's single-sided stick that goes over that. So this does not work like the cheap Wonderweb that I bought from Poundland in the past. It works slightly differently. So that's straight-ish. That's not very straight, is it, woman? You've got a bit out on the end. There we go. So that's that done. Now I want my 2p. I don't get that on iron. Can you imagine disaster if my Wonderweb sticks to iron? Oh my word. And it's not even Wonderweb. Stop calling it Wonderweb. So that goes over there. Totally not as I expected it to go. So it's got to cover the hem and go onto the fabric, and we've got to iron it on for 5 minutes. Did it say 5 minutes or 5 seconds? There's a huge difference between 5 minutes and 5 seconds. Oh. Hold iron firmly onto hem. Duration as per guidelines. So you hold it on long enough to stick, and then you let it cool for 5 minutes. So here we go. I've got my iron on knock iron. Why do I stick H's on things that don't need it? I'm turning my iron up to full because I can. I think it'll work even quicker. Wow, so that seems to stick up. That seems to have stuck already. I'm just going to get a little bit more. Just to make sure. Wow, that works so quick. I'm pretty impressed with this. I think I might make a dress. No. That just seems to have stuck already. I'm really happy with that. That's going to look wowza on my journal. Let's get the other piece. We'll get that little thread out of the way because I don't want that permanently sticking out, do I? Trim, trim. That's why I wanted to hem these edges, because it frays in a very strange way, this fabric. So, that looks about right again. I daren't put it right up to edge, but I could have done. I want it to be the same-ish. Same-ish. Look at me. Stop being too perfect, woman. And iron that on. This is pretty. Oh, and it stiffens the fabric as well. Oh. Oh, wow. I'm thinking of belly bands. I'm thinking of pockets. I'm thinking of other embellishments. Ooh, I can see me buying this in cream. Oh, yes. So there we have it. I really like how that worked. You can probably start to see, yeah, sometimes I don't explain what's in my head very well. I have a vision. Oh, that's dried now. I'm going to take the backing paper away. I'm going to move the iron before I burn myself. And then, yeah, this is the outside. So that, can you see now, that's what I wanted. I wanted these edges to be nice and pretty. Yeah. So all that's left to do is to glue that on. And this is the reason I didn't want, I'll show you from inside, I didn't want that hemming tape going to the end because it's made it thicker. And it would have just put more bulk in our creases there. Yeah. So I didn't want that. Oh, I like it. I really like it. Have I got a front and a back for this journal? I don't think I have. Both seem equally well made. So the next step is to glue it on. Yep. And this is where these spots are going to help me even more. You can see how well you've got it lined up. I thought it might be tricky using some fabric with spots, but I think because the fabric's not stretchy at all, it's actually a good thing. So without further ado, unplug your iron now, woman, you're not using it. I just heard it clicking away. And have a sip of your tea. You deserve one after that. Oh, that were nice. So, yeah. Right, I'm going to glue it on. Now, what I'm going to glue this on with is my high-tack fabric glue, because I like it. Yeah, I've just remembered what I need to do with that glue. It's quite a thick, gloopy glue, so it needs to be upside down for a while. I'm just going to pop it in with my inks upside down and let it filter down. Meanwhile, I'm going to cut another piece of fabric for the inside. So that's going to tuck over like that. I'm then going to put another piece of fabric over the inside spine, which is when this fabric being thin really comes into its own. This other piece of fabric is not quite as long, so that's the one I'm going to use. And I'm going to take my length from here. It needs to be a smidgen longer than the outside. So I'm just going to snippety snip there. I didn't mean a smidgen longer, I meant a smidgen wider. And then I'll cut again. I'm just going to use these dots to follow. You're not going to see this, only a bit at the top and a bit at the bottom, because I'm then going to put cover pages on the insides, front and back. Right. Yep, so that's just going to go like that. Once that's folded over, that will go on top. Yep, so you'll just see that between the pages and between the cover page and the spine. I'm just going to look if the other side was totally not straight, so I'm just going to cut that, and I can afford to because I made it wider. I'm going to cut that along the dots. I think dotty fabric can be handy. Well, I do now, I didn't before. Right, I now need to cut the length down because I don't want it right to the top of the book. I want it in just a little bit, perhaps 1/8 of an inch. So in theory I should cut this to 8 1/4 inches if my book's 8 1/2, but I'm just going to do it by looking. And I'm going to cut along that dot. It's gone quiet. So, yeah, when we've glued the outside, we'll glue that one. Because I'm not doing a hidden spine on this book. I'm sewing the spine, the signatures straight through. I want to see my sewing on the outside, because I may put charms on it. I've not decided yet. I do love the look of lots of charms, but then I think, is it going to be tricky when you're using the book with all that stuff on your spine? I don't know. I might just put one again there so we can hang things off it. You know, one of those book rings. Yeah. That's not as big of a problem, is it? Just your book being slightly raised at top. But the whole spine covered in beads and buttons, yeah, I love the look. But I don't know if I want to make it. I can't decide. It's a very difficult decision. Right, that glue should have glooped its way down to the bottom of the pot now. Yeah, it has. I'm going to grab one of my gluey brushes. They're just cheap brushes. It's not a glue brush, it's a cheap brush. This is a bristle hair brush. Maybe it's not cheap. Maybe it's one of Becca's that I've nicked out at bathroom. One of her art brushes. And I've thought it was one of my glue brushes drying. Oh well. Oh well. So I'm just going to come in and squeeze some on. Is it going to come out? Is the end blocked? I think the end might be blocked. Every time I use this, I cut a little bit more off. But because it's not, I don't need it to be precise, it doesn't really matter. But I'm going to run out of tip at one point, aren't I? So now it's coming out. Is it? I'm going to have to poke it with a pin. Shows how frequently I use this, doesn't it? Oh, that's better. Yeah, it was a bit glooped up from last time I used it. Now we've got glue coming out. Still not coming out very fast, but there's not a lot left in this bottle. I could do actually with getting a new bottle out for video. Let me just check my drawer if I've got a new bottle to hand, or if I've squirreled it away somewhere silly. Oops, I don't think that were a full-on craft lunch. I just knocked a box over. Have we got one? Hey, I'm beginning to wonder if I've got a spare bottle of this. Oh, that's... Yeah, I do love to have spare bottles of everything. Do you know, I think we could use regular PVA anyway. No, I don't. This is my last bottle. Oh, here we go. Now it's working. Maybe I just needed to wait a little longer. So I'm going to spread this out with my brush. We'll see whether that black gesso is colour fast, won't we? It should be if it's supposedly used as a primer. I'm not too bothered about anything other than this midsection of the spine at the moment, though. I just want to get this stuck. Ooh. Oh, someone's making some noise outside on the weekend. Sounds like they're demolishing a house. I don't know if my microphone's picking up on that. It's like, whoa, what's occurring there? Oh, you might do. It's pretty good at keeping out background noise, my microphone. And it's not a fancy one. Just a microphone. I just looked on Amazon, found a microphone that works with a smartphone for YouTube. And it were, I think it was £10. I think I just hit my camera. I'm not used to having this new stand right above me. I've got my camera much closer to my desk than I used to have it now. So yeah, I'll probably bonk it in. Right. So I'm really spreading this out very thinly because this fabric is very, very thin. And because I'm sewing my signatures straight into this spine, if there is any spots that aren't completely stuck, it won't be a problem because, yeah, we're going to have, yeah, quite a lot of, yeah, we are, we're going to have quite, oh, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. We're going to have a lot of that, yeah, we are. Julie, shut up. We're going to have a lot of thread. Right, I'm lining that up as best I can. I think it needs to be further over that way, actually. I'm guesstimating, to be quite honest. Then before I press down, I'm just going to grab my little ruler and check that these are roughly the same. So that's 1 1/8" I've got there, and 1 1/4" there. That's not good, is it? So I need to come slightly further onto that dot. What we've got now, 1 1/8" and a bit, and 1 1/8" and a bit. I'm happy now. Yep, the height's good. So I'm going to turn that over now, and I'm going to smooth it down from this side. No glue coming through because we've got that nice and thin. I don't know whether ordinary PVA would let you keep messing and repositioning like this fabric glue does. I honestly don't know, but I do like it, and it's not that expensive. And if you see me use something, you know it's not that expensive. Oh, it can be a bit of a tight wad. Right. Yeah, that's sticking lovely. So, yeah, that's going to be spot on. I like it. So now I've stuck that bit, I'm going to come in and put some more glue here. And this is where I'm loving that I've got this extra bit of, yeah, hemming tape. Is that what it's called? Hemming tape. I'm going to bring back this, because I don't want any more glue on this mat, or I'll need a new mat. I'm going to attach the glue to the bucket first, and then I'm going to put a line down there. You do want to come out. I need a new bottle down, so there's no else for it. Oh, splatter. Don't do that on my book. That's not nice. That's because my glue's nearly empty. Not a good position to be in, is it? But that's going to get covered. Right. Don't want it too thick on that edge. I want to get some on there. And then I'm going to wipe the excess of that off with my finger. So that's way too much. Whee. And then I'm going to put some down here. So hopefully those two lines will now meet. I'm just going to move that out of the way. I'll turn it over. And yeah, you can see a little bit of glue's come through there. It should dry nice. And let's get this. I'm going to grab a baby wipe and get some of that off. I'm going to move that box that I keep knocking over. There we go. Yeah, I've gone a bit mad on the glue. There we go. That looks better. We've got to get into that crease. Just don't want too much excess glue coming through. I don't want it to alter the colour of my fabric. So that's that side. The edge looks to be stuck down really well. You could come in and use a brayer if you've got one at this point, but I've got one somewhere. That's about all I'll say. So let's get some glue on this side. Three days later. Yeah, I think this might be the last album I get out of this bottle of glue. It's had its day, hasn't it? There we go. I'm going to put the glue in the edge completely with my finger this time, so I don't get as much. I've never found it a problem if it comes through it. You can't see it when it dries. And I'll just spread that bit out with my brush. That seam binding tape, hem tape, soaks up glue like nothing. Yeah, it soaks up a lot of glue. Right. That's that bit. Wipe that down again. So there we have it. You can see that bit. You can't see the glue anymore on that bit, so I'm hoping that one goes just as well. Pluses and minuses, aren't you, with thin fabric? Right, I'm going to turn that over and I'm going to glue these bits in. Oh, I've turned that glue bottle the other way around again now, haven't I? I'll leave it 2 seconds. Right, I didn't think about that bit. You know, because the fabric can be thin, so I'm just going to have a quick shufty to see whether... Oh, you can't see that through fabric. That's going to be fine. Yeah. It'll be great. I don't even know what that's from. It'll be great. It's some TV programme I've watched. Sorry about my rubbish accent. I'm not even sure what accent it were. Could have been Scottish or Irish, I'm not sure. Yeah. Right, glue, you should be at the bottom. So here we go. This time, because we're not going to see this, it's going to be covered up apart from at the very top. I'm not right bothered if glue comes through at all. So I'm even going to be brave and do both ends at once. Yeah, I can do that. And this time I'm going to remember to put my glue upside down. There we go. Get your brush, woman. Spread that out. I'm guessing how far down it goes again. I'm not too bothered if I have a bit too much. Just don't want too much on that edge. This brush holds a lot of glue. Save me right for nicking Becca's brushes, won't it? I must give this a good clean after, or she'll go mad at me. What are you doing stealing my brushes? She probably has some, I don't know, I'm crafty, I'm not artistic. She probably has some individual use for these brushes. I don't know what it is. Right, I'm just gonna bring that over. Same at bottom. There we go. Just going to dab a little bit under that edge. To make sure that sticks down. Same here. But like I said, I'm not too bothered if I'm a bit messy here, because this is going to be covered up with something else. And yeah. Get some in there where it's double as well. under there. Phone's buzzing like mad. I normally put, I hope you didn't hear that, I normally put it on completely silent and it's on buzz. Right, I think I'm happy with that. So I'm just going to grab a baby wipe for my sticky fingers, run one over the desk where I might have got glue. And oh yeah, that's looking okay now on the other side. I'm not going to put this down, obviously. I'll put, did you get glue on that? I'll hold it, yeah. If you have a look, you can see a little bit where that glue was. But I'm not too concerned with that at the minute. I am 100% confident you are not going to see that when it's dry. And without further ado, I'm really happy with the finish on that. Really happy. Oh, hey. So, I'm just going to let that dry. And then I'll come back again and we'll put the inner fabric in. So, 2 more takes. And I'm back. Right, well this is dry and as you can see, I'm not happy with it. Well, I am and I'm not. Where the glue came through on this fabric, I'm not quite sure what's happened. There's a few things that could have happened. I'm not quite sure which one did. Wiping it with the baby wipe, when I've used fabrics before, it's been fine, not a problem. I think it's particular to this fabric, and also looking at my fingers, I think the colours come off the gesso. Yeah, I think the black of the gesso has muddied the white, and either rubbing it has either taken some of the black colour out of the fabric, or it's the white glue that's coloured it. It's not sticky and it's not shiny, which is, I didn't want it sticky or shiny. To be honest, it looks as though the edges have been aged with use. Now, depending on the look you're going for, that could be a good thing or a bad thing. As far as this journal's concerned, I didn't really want that look, but I may have to adapt and like that look, because that's the look I've got. My other option is to get something to go over that part. I honestly don't know what I'm going to do. I may come in and put another layer of fabric over at some point. I don't know, but I'm not going to worry about that just now. I'm going to crack on and get on with what I'm doing. I'm going to cover the inside. And because of what happened with that glue, which is a water-based glue, and the gesso obviously isn't colour fast, I think acrylic paint would be a much better option for this. I don't think I will ever put a water-based paint onto black gesso again, but I've learnt something there, haven't I? Yeah, and it's good to learn. I should have wiped my fingers before I came back on to do this part. Let's see whether it's coming off with a baby wipe, so I'll do it while I'm talking. So yeah, I'm going to stick the inner fabric on with some 3-in-1 or Fabri-Tac, whichever I lay my hands on first. I think I've got an absolute smidge of Fabri-Tac left, and by a smidge I mean a smidge. There's literally ½ inch left in my bottle, so I think that's the way I'm going to go. I mean, any glue, if it seeps through, could leave a shiny mark, but I'm going to crack on. We'll see what happens. I might learn to love the fact that it looks like the book is aged. I mean, it is a junk journal. So, we'll see. I'm going to stick this one down bit by bit. I'm not going to go in for doing the whole lot at once. Ooh. So yeah, it's turned into one of them don't do as I did videos, hasn't it? But again, not a bad thing. I'm going to come in and put some Fabri-Tac here. And I'm going to have to spread it out with my finger, which I really don't like doing. But it's the only thing I can do. I don't like this stuff on my fingers at all. And I'm also going to let it get a bit tacky before I stick this down. That's That's about right. Yeah, this is not coming through and it's not altering the colour on the fabric. So I'm happy for that. So maybe sticking the outer cover. I mean, it's only going to, I think it were a bit of a perfect storm, wasn't it? I'd used gesso that's not colour fast. I'd used glue that's water based. I've never used black gesso before and I've learnt something about it. It's not colour fast. It's going to come off. So be careful how and where you use black gesso. And yeah, this fabric, if you look at the other side of the fabric, it's not as black as that side. I think maybe it's dye. The fabric's not colour fast. I really don't know. But I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. Them days where I used to abandon projects because they'd not gone exactly how I wanted them first time are long gone. In fact, those days disappeared when I started getting into junk journaling, because you learn, because there's no right way to do it, you can always do something else. Something else will be good enough. So stick that down. Yeah, I'm thinking, you know how I go on about Fabri-Tac and 3-in-1 being expensive and they don't have any place in my craft room. I think for thin fabrics over black gesso, that's what you need. You need a solvent-based ink. And I have tried the Beacon, not the Beacon, sorry, the Kalal on fabric before, and it doesn't like fabric. I don't know why. But this is much better, isn't it? Look at that. Yeah, I've got a few bits of glue through, but they're balling up and coming off like they normally do if any seeps through. Yeah, but I am noticing what's balling up and coming off is black. Whereas when my water-based glues come through, that has just seeped into the white, hasn't it, and altered the colour. This is much better. Right, I'm going to go ahead with my... It's actually a craft knife. I just love using it for this purpose. Right, woo, let's throat glue about. That bit's optional. I need some more glue here. Yeah, I've got a lot of... I don't like this black. I don't like this. Ugh. No, that's not pleasing me. Like I said, I think that's... I don't know whether that's the fabric or the gesso. I might test. I might have a play by sticking a little piece of fabric where there's no black gesso, and I'll stick a piece of fabric where there's some black gesso, just so I know what is causing the problem. Looking at how this is balling up, and I don't think there's gesso there. I think it's the fabric. This fabric is not colour fast. Not colour fast at all. I'm so glad I weren't using it on a white project. It's lovely fabric though. Right, that's that stuck in good enough for me. Yeah, because I am then going to come in and cover the inside and outside, the back and front inside pages. So let's have a look at the top. Yeah, pretty happy with that. Pretty happy. It's just like I said this, but yeah, if I'd not done this live on camera and I'd said to you, oh, look what I've done to make it look aged on the corners like the book has been used, because that is what would happen, isn't it, with a book that had had plenty of use. So do you know what? I really think I'm going to embrace that and call it a happy accident. Right, so that's that. I'm not sure how long this video's been. Do you know, we're filming it in so many little bits, so I'm going to call that done. Yeah, and I'll come back with another video putting the inside covers on. Yeah, the last thing I do when I've bound the pages and everything will be putting the topper on the front. I always leave that while everything's bound. Yeah, then nothing untoward can happen to it. So there we have it. We have now got fabric on the spine of our Alice in Wonderland junk journal. I hope you learnt something from that. I I hope you stuck around for the whole video. Yeah, anyone who watched just the first half might not know that we had problems, but like I say with my channel, crafting, warts and all. If it goes wrong, you're going to see it go wrong, and hopefully if I have any ideas on how to fix it, I will give you some. But yeah, if you want to do an aged book cover, do it just like that. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time, which will be very soon. Thanks a lot. Bye.